So our second video is about the 5 layers of the epidermis, and I just want to warn you ahead of time, this is most likely, almost certainly, going to be a short answer on the second exam that I know you're already looking forward to. So we begin with the deepest of the 5 layers of the epidermis. That would be the stratum germinativum or stratum basale. Usually students pick basal, that's fine. I don't care which one you go with, pick one and stick with it. But just understand they're the same thing. And in this layer we have a lot of cell growth going on. We're going to find that we have different types of structures. First we have some anchoring structures. Remember, hemidesmosomes are the structures that anchor this bottom layer of cells into the basement membrane. The skin is a stratified squamous epithelia, and so we need a way to anchor this bottom layer of cells into the basement membrane to hold everything together. Then we see stem cells. We're going to be going through a lot of mitosis here in this layer. And all these stem cells are going to go through mitosis to produce new types of skin cells that will migrate superficially to replace the dead and dying ones on the surface of your skin. Our third type of cell is the melanocyte. This is a cell responsible for pigmentation, and we'll look a bit more into it here in the next video. And finally, the last type of cell in this particular layer are the Merkel cells or tactile cells. These cells are sensitive to light touch, and you're going to find them most highly congregated where touch is most significant, in the fingertips, lips, and perhaps in other areas that are sensitive. Our second layer of skin that is superficial to the stratum germinativum is the stratum spinosum. In the stratum spinosum, we still see cell division going on, and we see our fourth type of cell in the skin called the Langerhans. So we've covered Merkel cells, covered melanocytes, we've got Langerhans cells, and of course we have our regular skin cells that we'll rename here shortly. So in the spinosum, the claim to fame here is cell division still occurring, mitosis is still occurring, and we see the introduction of Langerhans cells. What the heck are these things? These Langerhans cells are also known as dendritic cells, and they form an important component in your immune response. So if you damage your skin, these cells are going to be significant in getting an immune response generated to deal with the invading bacteria or viruses. The next superficial layer of skin is the stratum granulosum, and its claim to fame here is that cell death begins now. Why is cell death beginning? Because we're seeing the formation of lots of keratin within the cell, and keratin is a protein that's going to help waterproof our cells. And in this process of waterproofing, this accumulation of keratin, it's going to separate the organelles apart, disassociate them, and they will begin to die off. This process is fully completed by the time we hit the stratum lucidum, and the stratum lucidum is what divides the thin skin from the thick skin. The presence of it is what is called thick skin. When it's absent, it's thin skin. When it's present, it blocks the growth of hair. When it isn't present, it allows the growth of hair. So again, thin skin found in vast areas of the body, but thick skin only in a few select spots where we have no hair. Stratum lucidum is cells full of keratin. This is really the main waterproofing layer, and these cells, absolutely all organelles are gone, no nucleus. They are just hollowed out shells of keratin. Finally, the most superficial layer, the one you see on the surface of the skin, is the stratum corneum. And here we have about 25, maybe even as thick as 40 layers of these dead skin cells, all joined by desmosomes. Remember, desmosomes are these huge proteins sitting inside the cell membrane, and they send out little linker proteins through the membrane that link the cells together. These are a type of junction, recall. And so the cells in this outer layer of skin don't just fly off individually, they fly off in flakes or clumps. How do we know? Think about the last time that you perhaps got a suntan, a sunburn, right? So what happens when it begins peeling? It peels off in sheets, right? And those sheets occur because of the desmosomes. So here are our cells of the epidermis. We begin in the stratum granulosum, and we see here a melanocyte in this most basal layer. This is responsible for pigmentation. We also see a stem cell that's leading to the formation of new skin cells that eventually will be called keratinocytes. Our next type of cell here is the Merkel cell. These are the sensitive detectors of touch. And then we have the dendritic or Langerhans cells for the immune system. These are our 4 cell types. You can see how the stratum germinativum eventually forms into the spinosum, which forms the granulosum, then the more superficial layer of the lucidum, only present in thick skin, and then finally the stratum corneum. And here they are laid out. This is from your Anatomy and Physiology Revealed program, your APR. We can see in the most superficial layer here, the corneum, then the stratum lucidum that's present only in thick skin, stratum granulosum where we're getting extensive cell death occurring, stratum spinosum where we still have mitosis occurring, still have active growth, and then stratum basal, which is where the stem cells are located and where you have very active cell division going on. Onward to video 3 in this particular chapter.